Nicknamed the Leech due to his vice-like grip, Li Jingliang is one of China's finest fighters. Despite not having yet reached the highest heights of the UFC, Li is already a fan favorite, mostly perceived as a class act, having faced pretty much every situation MMA can throw at a fighter over the course of his 15-year career, with a refreshingly humble attitude. With an impressive record of 19 wins and 8 losses, Li has transitioned from grappler to thrashing machine and onto poised and composed stalker. And as he says, he is still learning every day. However, his life could have turned out very differently. As a young man growing up in a small village in China's remote western Jingliang province, he jokes that he would have become a farmer if it wasn't for Bruce Lee. See, as a child, Lee wasn't particularly interested in martial arts until one day when he watched a Bruce Lee movie and everything changed. At the time, movies didn't have the same big budgets and CGI effects of our generation. And watching Bruce Lee perform his crazy martial arts choreography with no green screen was truly groundbreaking.
That's what it was.
Karate.
Bruce Lee, nigga,
that was the
fuck
shit.
you up.
Jingliang found Bruce Lee's talent and artistry so fascinating that his parents ended up enrolling him in an amateur sports school. By the time he was 16, Jingliang was doing so well that he started training in freestyle wrestling under the famous national Sanda champion Bao Li Gao, nicknamed the Muay Thai Killer. It was under Bao's tutelage that Jingliang entered his first MMA competition, winning his professional debut in 2007 via TKO. In 2008, he relocated to Beijing to train with former UFC lightweight Zhang Taikan. However, his breakthrough came several years later, in 2013, when he defeated New Zealand MMA fighter Luke the Jedi Jumeau, winning the golden belt in the welterweight category under the Legend Fighting Championship banner. This win put Jingliang on Dana White's radar, prompting the UFC to make him an offer. Being only the third Chinese athlete to sign a UFC contract, this was a huge achievement. Jingliang won his UFC debut against David Michaud with a split decision in May 2014. And by split decision, he would also lose his next bout against Nordine Taleb in November of the same year, despite being able to take Taleb down multiple times and landing more strikes than his opponent. This wouldn't be the last time the judges seemingly robbed the Leech of a well-deserved win. More recently, at UFC 279, Jingliang lost out on a massive opportunity when he was swapped out of a scheduled matchup against former UFC interim champion Tony Ferguson, to being instead relegated to a last-second matchup against Daniel Rodriguez, who'd already tipped the scales at 179 pounds for a scheduled catchweight bout, nearly 10 pounds heavier than Jingliang. It was already an awful matchup, but the result was worse. We'll talk about that whole mess in just a second. But first, please subscribe to our channel. Your support is the only reason we were able to produce this documentary.
Yo, what up, fam? It's the Menace Dennis Bermudez, and I watch Clinched Teeth. Do yourself a favor, like, comment, and subscribe.
And we read all the comments, so let us know who you want our next video to be about. In 2015, Lee would win once and lose once against Diego Lima and Kita Nakamura, respectively. Between 2016 and 2017, he would only fight 4 matches, winning them all. Consistently improving with each fight, Jingliang developed into quite the bully, pressuring his opponents, always ready to explode into a big series of potential knockout swings that may or may not be followed by a takedown attempt. But let's skip to the best parts, okay? In 2021, Khamzat Chimaev and Li Jingliang would clash at UFC 267. Remember, in 2020, Chimaev took the UFC by storm, racking up 3 straight victories in under a month. all finishes and with less than 5 minutes of his time spent fighting combined.
Do you know who Khamzat Chimaev is?
Yes.
That's another guy that everybody's like, I can't wait to see that motherfucker fight again. Can he fight again tomorrow?
I want to see him fight too, Joe.
Can he fight tomorrow?
I fucking want to see him too. I don't know why, but I do want to see him.
He's got it. Whatever that thing is, he's got it.
But just when he was gaining momentum, he was sidelined by COVID-19 and his rise was put on hold. Returning to the octagon after a massive 13-month layoff, Chimaev had one goal: prove he was still worthy of the hype around him. And when the call to arms came to Lee, the response from the Chinese fighter was an immediate yes. The previous 2 months had seen Lee tucked away in Shanghai at the UFC's Performance Institute, and the word from training partners had been he was the first to arrive for warm-ups and the last to take his gloves off at the end of the day. Going into this match, Chimaev dropped a bombshell when he revealed that he'd never heard of the Leech prior to being drawn against him for his bout. Having said that, Chimaev also expressed his gratitude toward Jingliang for accepting the call while others turned down the chance to face one of the world's most exciting prospects. Despite a year away from the cage, Chimaev picked right up where he left off as he went straight for the takedown and manhandled Lee to the canvas. He cracked Lee with several stout left hands before taking his back.
Yeah, he's got to stay calm and not let him get to his back.
Lee ate a barrage of punches before Chimaev sunk in a tight rear naked choke. The Chinese fighter refused to tap, but as his body went limp, the referee called a stop to the contest.
No significant strike received. This guy's next level. This guy's next level.
For the third straight fight, Chimaev's opponent failed to land a single strike.
I'm the king here. I will stay a long time. I'm gonna come for everybody. I kill everybody. You believe me now? I told you I'm gonna kill him. That I did. He sleep, bro.
I think I gained a lot from that loss, Jingliang would later declare in interviews. I lost 5 times in my UFC career. I learned more from those losses than from my victories. After the Khamzat fight, he would spend more time with his family in China, being a dad to 2 lovely kids. And in April of 2022, after the Chinese New Year, he would return to the US with his team to train there.
Go, Leech! Go!
Looking to bounce back from his defeat, he would face Russian fighter Muslim Salikov in July of the same year. Aptly nicknamed King of Kung Fu, Salikov came into this bout on the back of 5 straight victories. Fun fact, Salikov is a legend in China. After beating so many legendary Chinese Sanda fighters, he basically owns all the Sanda awards. So this fight was a pretty big deal in China. Both welterweights had their moments in the first round.
Oh! Man, that spinning wheel kick from Salikov is so fast.
But it looked like Salikov was gaining the upper hand. However, his entire game relies on speed, since he has such sick spinning attacks. Problem is, he's way too old to rely on the speed of his spinning attacks. He has like 3 minutes of dangerous kicks before he's basically useless at boxing range.
Round 2, coming up on ABC.
Jingliang turned things up in the second round and was able to find a home for his powerful right hand. He clobbered Salikov a few times before the Russian toppled to the canvas. That's when the Leech unloaded a barrage of elbows to secure his knockout finish.
That'll do it! 8th UFC knockout!
It was a great statement win for Lee, and it marked his 8th finish win in the welterweight division. Boosted by triumph, Lee was scheduled to fight against Tony Ferguson at UFC 279 in September 2022.
多想和他打，我觉得现在的
What I want is basically, I just want to fight. I want to be active. I want to fight more. But of course, it's Tony Ferguson. He's a superstar, legend of this sport.
Tony Cucuy Ferguson!
Tony Ferguson was, at one time, one of the most feared fighters on the UFC roster.
He's the scariest guy at 155 in my word.
I agree.
This was the case given he was sitting on a 12-fight win streak, the longest in the lightweight division.
Whoa! Fucking amazing!
Moreover, during his impressive dominance in the UFC, Ferguson put forth performances that showcased well-rounded violence with an underlying note of elite durability, having the ability to inflict severe damage while enduring pain oddly well, earned him his nickname El Cucuy, the boogeyman.
I don't hate this guy, I like him, but he have a little bit brain problem, I think. This is my opinion,
However, age and damage seem to have caught up to him. First came Justin Gaethje, the man who snapped the aura of El Cucuy, dishing out an absolute beating that forced the referee to step in. Then came the back-to-back unanimous decision losses to Charles Oliveira
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
and Beneil Dariush. After that, the competition did not get any easier, getting paired with Michael Chandler. Tony actually looked good in the first round, but Chandler unleashed one of the most devastating front kicks we have seen to flatline the fan favorite. Although fighting Jingliang doesn't make much sense for Ferguson at this point in his career, he was seeking a fresh start by moving up to welterweight, hoping to showcase more power and durability. Roughly speaking, when the card was announced, it appeared as Tony was just holding on to his career at this point. On the other hand, many recognized this as an opportunity for Jingliang to finally come out of the shadows, as he was still mostly perceived as a peripheral figure in the UFC. However, after both men made weight for their welterweight fight, everything got turned upside down. The main event on the card was Nate Diaz's farewell, his final UFC fight against none other than Khamzat Chimaev. The official press conference started over half an hour late with no notice or explanation until Dana White canceled it, as things had descended into absolute mayhem behind the scenes.
There's only so many people back here that can handle these type of situations.
When Khamzat Chimaev started fighting everyone backstage,
Say something now!
You're not about that life, kid!
the following day, Chimaev also badly botched his weight cut, missing by 7.5 pounds and forcing Dana to reshuffle bouts on a day's notice.
It's not good. I don't like it.
Although Li Jingliang did nothing wrong, he got the worst outcome out of all the chaos from UFC 279. During the lead-up, he was seen getting a nice custom suit and being excited to show it off at a press conference. He had also been working on his English and was looking forward to the media event, only for it to be abruptly canceled during the backstage brawl. And when the following day Chimaev forced the late shuffling in the final fight card, instead of having his big opportunity against Tony Ferguson, Lee ended up with a tougher and much bigger opponent that wasn't remotely as popular, Daniel Rodriguez, a fellow welterweight contender who entered the bout with a huge weight advantage after initially weighing in for a 180-pound catchweight bout. Everyone else who got shifted in the card fought someone at their same weight. However, Lee, being the gangster that he is, accepted the fight. The size difference between the two was apparent from the onset.
All up in your face, this is what you wanted.
Keep in mind that neither fighter trained for the other, so they were essentially figuring it out on the fly out there.
Better watch your step, because I run things out here, taking it over. If you not from round here, get out the way. It's time I shut you down. Yeah, show you who's boss and run you down until you can't no more. Cause we gon' fight.
Fans were not given the best of Rodriguez nor Lee, and the fighters still delivered an entertaining and competitive contest. Ultimately, Lee looked great during the fight, sticking and moving around the cage to avoid the threat posed by the larger Rodriguez. He was the busier-looking fighter through all 3 rounds. The movement and pace he utilized to deal with the larger Rodriguez was truly impressive, and his sheer activity could have been an important factor for anyone scoring the fight. At the end of the 3-round duration, most fans and pundits thought Jingliang deserved the win. Instead, Rodriguez earned the victory by a split decision that not many agreed with.
I thought Lee won the fight.
And a lot of people thought Lee kind of got the short end of the straw because he weighed 170, Daniel.
He did. They're right, you're right. The judges were wrong in my opinion. It wasn't even like I was like, wow, that could have gone either way. I was shocked when they said split decision.
The media was nearly unanimous in scoring the fight for Lee, with 20 of 23 scores submitted in favor of the Leech.
Dana went ahead and press conference said that he felt that Lee won the fight. He was shocked. He was surprised. I don't feel like it was that shocking that I got. It was a close fight.
None of the chaos in the lead-up to UFC 279 visibly bothered Jingliang too much. He accepted the opponent change without blinking. He didn't complain after he lost the chance to show off his snazzy new suit at the pre-event press conference. And instead of complaining about the result, he took to social media and showed what a true professional he really is. In a recent appearance on the MMA Hour, Jingliang wore a homemade t-shirt with "Robbed" written across it and expressed his frustration with the outcome of the fight. He also admitted he would much rather have fought either Ferguson or Diaz, who both made the welterweight limit just like him.
I'm really sorry to see how it all panned out, but I have to say, despite all the bad luck, despite you getting screwed, I really think your stock went up. I really think people love you so much more now, and you're a real fan favorite.
Lee has never lost 2 fights in a row, but he suffered his 6th defeat inside the octagon here, and his record slipped to 19-8. Rodriguez extended his to 17-2 with a 4-fight winning streak. Despite the tough turns of events, Lee gained a new wave of fans and a lot of respect within the promotion. In the midst of all the UFC 279 chaos, he looked like the one kid trying to finish the group project by himself while everyone else argues. You can imagine Dana going through several iterations of possible matchup outcomes, with some people objecting and the Leech just nodding in agreement to every name they asked him to fight. So the least the UFC can do for him now is to give him a good fight. Maybe against someone near the back end of the rankings, or just outside, perhaps a fighter like Michael Chiesa, or a rematch with Rodriguez, with both fighters actually training to fight the other. Whatever the future holds for him, one thing's for sure: Leech deserves recognition for being an absolute gangster.
What it do, what it does, where you been, where you was, but it ain't what it is. Face in the mud, I really be hating in the mud. Said I can't pick it up, but I did. Y'all know Goon put too much bass in the sub. Cup full of blood and I gave it a chug. Wait till your name